So this is the third day now, and clearly the hype has calmed down a bit. But what's interesting today, Leap, and let's remind everybody that there's over 600 startups that are available here, 1,100 expert speakers, over 1,800 global tech exhibitors, and an expected attendance of over 172,000. As we said before, this is coming at the heart of Saudi Arabia's tech transformation. Clearly, anybody who's attending would be able to see what I saw and feel what I felt. There is a very felt drive and energy there. What is very particular about this, having been to other similar events within the Gulf and the region, is the fact that there is a lot of Saudi or local companies that have been able to really come together to offer 100% uh, made in Saudi sort of solutions, sort of products, whether it's on the gaming side or on consultancy side for services, or on the AI side. I mean, right in front of me is Fathom.io. Again, they're using local LLMs, private AI sort of approach. I'm just mentioning them not because of anything, just because they're right in front of me and I can see them. But then I also did in my tour, I could see other companies that are proudly Saudi and have developed their LLMs and are able to provide services for local entities, government entities, and benefit from the great encouragement that is coming from the government, particularly from PIF, which is the investment authority that has been really supporting the local talent and the local calibers. That is from one side. From the other side, there is a clear attempt to try and show support women empowerment, and there are lots of contrasting sort of opinions about that. Some women are saying, all right, let's not try to every time we want to do something, try to make women as if they've just landed on planet Earth, and try to always highlight that we're doing something with women, women in AI, women in HR, women in, as if it's something that is very novel and very strange. But the others are saying, that that's a great initiative, a great push to try and give women the space they need to within the Saudi market and the Saudi society and the Gulf society in general, to play their role as active members of the society. But overall, the event is full of, as I said, energy and lots of local brands, and that is also particular and new. In addition to the big tech, and in addition to the big tech on the Chinese side, you have a lot of players from the region. It's not that inclusive yet, I have to say. It can be more inclusive. It can include more calibers and more talents and more initiatives. But I think that is definitely something that's going to happen in the near future. At the same at the same time, another point, which is the local developers are able to use and utilize the insights they have to create solutions that work in Saudi Arabia, rather than try to customize solutions that are imported and try to find a way so the user interface and the UX suits the user here. So they're starting at an advanced in an advanced level where they know exactly what the Saudi user would be expecting and what would work with them, and that is giving them an advantage over the others. So yeah, these are very generic impressions that I was able to generate, and we published something on our page about the talking or the talks that were there from global leaders, and that is very impressive. Um, uh, I don't know if that is the case, but most of the ones that I was able to attend were uh, from Hong Kong and mainland China, in addition to others from the Middle East. And again, to me, that is a new sort of uh, a, a new development within this tech world, where most of the markets here were um, on the consumer, or we're consuming and importing that technology, whilst now they've moved into really developing it from zero, taking advantage of the support that the Saudi government is providing through PIF, as I said. So that's it from my end on Leap in general. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but also before I move to Haitham, back to Haitham, I just want to make a small to give a small message about the introduction of Mahmoud. Mahmoud is a new player in the network that we're trying to create, and I will let you, Mahmoud, introduce yourself and what you do and how you can bring, as I said, local solutions for this market, for this region, based on your background and based on your skills and capabilities. So, Mahmoud, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we can go to you, Haitham, and see what questions do you have for us this week.
Sure, thank you so much, Hamid. Hello, everyone. So it was a really great, comprehensive, insights about Leap that you have, and I will ask my questions later. I want to see how bold is it, the neon, this wall that they are building inside the event. But anyway, so as Hamid mentioned, I'm Mahmoud. I have around 15 years in technology since 2010, I believe, and my background coming from the electrical engineering, working with the electronics, the devices, sensors, and everything. And then I did my master in digital electronics, which has the focus on cloud computing. And since that time, I think it was the beginning of the cloud services, 2010, from Eucalyptus, OpenStack. So I was mostly active in that area because we had this big data center in our university, so I could install anything. So I worked with most of the on-premise cloud services and try to build our own public clouds. And then, based on my background in electronics and my experience in the cloud from 2014-15, I started my activities also in IoT and try to cover most of the use cases in IoT. So I joined one company to create and build the dedicated IoT network within the country. So based on the Sigfox technology. So I was responsible for the technical details of this network, for the use cases, and it was a reason I needed to work with different use cases, from supply chain, utilities, oil and gas, anything that can be transmit the data over IoT network. And since then, I'm working with different technologies because I see that if you want to follow the trends and the cutting edge technologies, you need to learn. So after that, I try to work with other networks as well. So I would say I try to cover most of the LPWAN, low power wide area networks, for the IoT. And then after that, I started my startup in Dubai. with focus on some small projects for regenerative agriculture, for precision agriculture, and medical tourism, which was a bit unsuccessful because of the COVID happened. And after that, I started working with different startups. One of them was, which was really interesting, was for live streaming e-commerce, to bring the sustainability to live streaming and also group purchasing and bring in the community. During that time, I worked with different sustainability criteria to create the scoring for each product. And the next, even working with tokenization, how we can tokenize the activities of the users. And it was a good experience, and also it was also combined with a bit of VR and AR activities. And also for the last couple of years, I did some projects in digital twin to bringing the actual world to the digital world, not only from designing, also from point clouds, lidars, which was again combined with the IoT sensor data, because as you may know, we can create everything in the digital twin, even ourselves. By the way, I have one digital version of myself as well. I can show you later. And yeah, I would say anything that is now connected, because I want to know and I want to see the whole model of the solution. For example, if we are talking about one project, as Hamid always mentioned, that if we are doing one project with one company, I don't want to stop with that specific part. So we need to see which other parts of the company we can help to improve using the technology that we know, and how we can improve anything. Because using the technology, we can bring new use cases, but we can improve also the previous use cases as well. So we need to kind of educate our customers. And yeah, recently I also work with generative AI to create some systems to learn, to show the users how they can, for example, fix something. Or even for the digital twin, I use Omniverse, and we have the generative AI extension there as well, that you can ask, for example, I want to create one typical room. So it can search using the ChatGPT, the typical things inside the room, and show you the models, and they can create. So I can say anything which is now useful, I try to cover, because technology is my life. Technology is my, not wife, but yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
This is, yeah. If any question, I will be happy to answer.
Yeah.
I would like to kind of
Well,
delve into
Mahmoud,
the.
yeah.
Sorry, just because
No,
kind
no.
of goes hand in hand
Go
with
ahead. Go ahead.
what Hamid mentioned regarding the presence of a lot of Chinese companies within Leap. I'm quite familiar that live streaming e-commerce is a very, very big market there, and I think they had like one of the on Singles Day they had one of the biggest sales records ever recorded in a single day. So, what kind of stuff have you done within the live streaming e-commerce? If you can kind of tell us a bit more about that specifically.
Sure. So the application that we were working on was exactly, it was some addition of the Asian applications, because there are a lot of them there, and they're earning millions of dollars, even hourly, doing this thing. So we wanted to have some live streaming e-commerce platform, which people can showcase things. For example, we also try to provide this try-on. People can see. We wanted to bring some contribution from the users. If counting the hours, for example, people inside to live stream, and then we can tokenize it. So it was some mix of all these new technologies, bringing the Ethereum, using the Oracle to bring this actual world to virtual world, and then bring even gamification. If they can post, I don't know, some couple of the products of the streamer, then they can receive some advantage, or even give them some NFTs based on them. And as you can see, for example, Amazon Live, they have these celebrities which can do this for them. So even there, we wanted to give the privilege using these NFTs tokens to the user, which they can attend. So I can say in the live streaming e-commerce, it's we wanted to entangle as much as possible technology there, VR, AR. Even we were thinking about creating some, merging the sustainability there. Even, for example, there is some kind of donating inside the live streaming, or as much as people purchasing things, something can grow inside the environment, some green tree in that environment using VR, AR, and anything which can bring things, and seeing also the community group purchasing, if you can bring these things and kind of merge them to sustainability. And also we had some green part inside our inside the application. We can show only the green products, which has the, for example, minimum of, I would say, 50 scores in the sustainability. And as you may know, there are a lot of activities inside the sustainability now, in the cosmetics, in the food. If you go to Spinus and buy something, you can see that there is one sustainability criteria on them, even different things. And I forgot to mention that also I did some projects for sustainability for a company which was working with Nestle to bring the transparency to the supply chain from Congo, the coffee beans, to France. So here, now this awareness for the definite, especially the not generative AI, Generation Z. So because of them, they are now really aware of these things, and they are spending more to have those things. So yeah, that's it.
Okay,
When I start speaking, everything will come.
yeah. That is actually really interesting. I actually really like the idea of trying to merge a kind of a unique NFT token to attending live stream events. I think that also not only opens up opportunities for digital and high street brands when it comes to selling their products, but also very high end luxury brands. Like let's take Hermes, for example, where there's like, for example, a purchasing requirement to be able to qualify for certain products. All of that can now also be taken to the digital realm and kind of creating extra tiers that are very easy to manage for companies like that want to sell like high-end luxury stuff, while also kind of being able to track where the people are coming from and expanding their markets and kind of offering products within different ranges, or opening brands and companies within those specific ranges. The data there kind of does create a lot of opportunities, absolutely. I was wondering, on that note, was there anything in Leap that kind of had any of that kind of unique twist of applying AI and modern technology in any kind of commerce or B2B element that you've seen, Hamid?
Yes. There were many. I mean, um, uh, there are lots of initiatives here that are very much at an initial stage. Clearly, because of the novelty of the technology, at the same time, because of the restriction on using LLMs that are not within the kingdom. And that puts lots of restriction on going into open sources, and not to delve into the complexity of that matter when it comes to security and safety. I believe that I can after this I can go around and try to look at particular examples within particular areas to provide some information on that for whoever is interested. However, um, the limitations are still a big hindrance, as I was told, you know. So as much as yes, there are solutions that might work here, but you expect LLMs to be able, or generative AI to be able to be very expansive and provide you with solutions that are beyond really a very limited sources. So and everybody here, Haitham, going into the AI in terms of development, they're still at an initial stage. They're trying to get the attention of the PIF to get the needed funds to actually grow and become of value to the private sector, and or to mainly the government sector, because this is the number one spender on such tech
Yeah.
solutions. It is a very early stage. Yes, you will go around and then you'll see a lot of AI sort of being used everywhere. But then you realize that it's either a model or a module that was developed in Hong Kong or in mainland China or in other areas, and they try to add to it Arabic LLMs as narrow, not the size that would really provide a full scale solution. But
On that
before I
note,
forget,
sorry,
I wanted. Mm,
do you think a portion of that issue is coming from data? Is there not enough data being collected at the moment within the Saudi market for those learning
yes,
models to be able
the
to
Saudi
be
market.
deployed?
We tend sometimes to forget. I mean, as I would say, yes, we are expats in this region in particular. That the Saudi market is catering for the Saudis, whilst we know that the other Gulf states might have companies that are targeting the Saudi market, whilst here they're actually in the market. Uh, so they have to have their products created and designed and developed for the Saudi consumer. And the Saudi consumer is developing, is growing. But then, yes, Arabic becomes imperative. You won't be able to succeed if you're not mastering the Arabic language. That's for sure. If you're not mastering if you don't have accessibility to local insights, and yes, the people living in Jeddah are different from the people living in Riyadh. They like to be very diversified in the sense. At the same time, they are, within the same borders, but that diversity and that complexity makes it very interesting, but difficult for companies that have just jumped into Saudi to develop something right away and offer it to whether the government entities or to the private sector or to the users themselves directly. So I would believe that it is still at its very early stages at this time because of the lack of these the data that is needed. Let's remember that this is not exactly the market that was harnessing data the way we would think or the way we would like to think. Digitalization of government entities is still ongoing and still happening. They're very much on that track now, but it will take some time. We're not talking years in the sense that probably, yes, 2-3 years. It's getting there. But yeah, you do need every company will need to look at that and take it seriously because I mean at the end of the day you need data, right? If you don't have it, you're not going to be able to create and innovate local solutions. So yeah, that's the situation here.
So on that
If
note,
anything else, Haitham, on that front, or yeah, go ahead.
sorry, so Mahmoud, from your perspective, because you work with digital twinning, you've worked with IoT, which both of these are produce one needs and one produces large amounts of data. What would be the typical kind of first initiative actions that a business would take for implementing a project such as that? Like, what's the kind of very far away view actions that kind of people will have to consider when they're taking on something like that?
Just
So I
one
believe
second before
first,
you answer, Mahmoud.
sure, sure,
Sorry,
sure.
because that was exactly the question that I wanted to ask. Because Eric, you won, or the Zoom CEO. So he was in his talk. He was promoting digital twin, and clearly they have the data to build that, right? So he was telling the presenter, yeah, probably next year my digital twin would be doing that interview. And I've heard that, and I've read about it from Otter. At the same time, Otter is another provider, AI powered. They do manuscripts for meetings, and then they've been there since 2000, probably 18 or 17. So this is what I wanted to ask Mahmoud when he talked about digital twin and all of that. I mean,
Sure.
how would that apply itself on the local market, taking into consideration the situation that I just talked about, and then as Haytham laid out this question. So Mahmoud, floor is yours.
Sure. So if, when we want to talk about the digital twin, we need to specify the use case, because the use case that Hamid mentioned is different that Haytham mentioned, and people see it completely from different perspectives. If it was 5 years ago, digital twin was only IoT. So someone wants to monitor the activity of the machineries inside the factory or seeing the production line. They wanted to have the sensors. But today, it's really different. Even companies, they are trying to build the digital twin of the building even before planning everything. So we need to specify that. And what Hamid mentioned about the digital twin of the person, it's also something different. Because when I work with this face, audio to face, there's a tool which you can specify what's happening there. The question is, the data is really important, but we need to specify where we want to use it. Because for building the digital twin itself, for some 3D visualization or 3D presentation of the actual world, I don't think we need a lot of data. So we can start from the scratch. But when we want to give some insight about the digital twin itself, for example, if you have a very big construction and you want to see if there is any difference here, for example, if there is any, I don't know, any problem with the building or with the bridge or with the airport. So here you need to have the historical data to analyze the situation and see it further. Even now, companies that are using the digital twin, integrating with the point clouds, LiDARs, to see the difference. For example, if the construction is remote, so they have these drones going there, taking this LiDAR data, point clouds, and see the difference. So here, it's really important to have the point clouds. Coming to Hamid's use case, that side is also important to see the gesture of the face. The question is if the guy wants to some script to present him. For example, they give the script to the machine and then it will say something, or it's only presentation. For example, there are systems that you can talk here and something. I think this new Vision Pro from Apple is something like this. So you can have your own, I would say, avatar, and then based on your gesture, it will copy what you are doing. But copying is something, and creating something is something else. So maybe you can give them the voice, and based on your gesture, based on your tonnage, based on your intonation of inside the talking, then they can create something from nothing, from no videos. So use case is really important in the digital twin. It can be, as I mentioned, even your room, even that area that you are in, Hamid, it can have the digital twin. There are now very, very, I would say, advanced technologies and very, very powerful LiDARs that you can create the digital representation of the indoor. So you can walk through, there are backpacks that you can use, walk inside the, what we call it, the forest or the building or any place, then you can create that. So creating is something and using the data is something, and the use case that we want to see there, it's something else that it's really, really wide. Even now, I heard from one of my friends that in India, they're selling big towers and people can wear the VR headset and go and see everything inside the building and then buy them. So when we kind of integrate digital twin with the VR, and the next level is AR, and then the next level is XR, the mixed reality. So, I think the sky is the limit. So we need to also differentiate, as I mentioned, I think I'm now repeating myself, from 3D representative of anything and then see how we want to use it inside the systems and bring it to the real world and give the users the sense of the technology. And again, I had one meeting with the one university in Dubai. They had this immersive experience when they want to have this 3D world and VR environment, which is now, just before our call, I was reading something about industrial metaverse, which has a digital twin, VR, and all these things in one place.
Have you seen any of that type of
Mahmoud,
element? Because I know you mentioned, sorry, Hamid. I know you mentioned VR and AR being at the event. Have you seen anything of that sort being presented in terms of maybe the technology in the eyewear itself or the associated software that Mahmoud was talking about?
I think you're asking Hamid, right?
Yes, Hamid.
no, you. Oh, sorry. Did you mention? Yeah, uh, I did, but they're very very few. I don't think they're well. I was going to talk about what would be called as an invasive sort of hardware and the acceptability of it, right? I did not spend any time on the eyewear, but I stopped at another one, which is the BCI, the brain computer interface, which really got my attention more. It's an American San Francisco company, Neurable. That was more or less a newer thing. Eyewear has been, as you guys know, in and out a lot. Lots of companies have tried to put it, put it in or release it in market, but unfortunately, none of them have been successful enough. Clearly, because it goes with something that is tied to fashionable tastes and all of that. I did not stop at that stand. I saw only two, and I don't even remember the brands. They were empty. Nobody had any interest in them, and clearly, as I said, because probably of the past disappointments that were there. But now with what content that or what technology that has been added to them, I am probably, and with I don't know if now if this is something that is only my imagination, but looking at what or hearing what Mahmoud was saying about VR and digital twin, I don't know if eyewear would also play a role in that, and then will create a need for that to take place or to happen and be of value to users. Probably, as I said, it's just my imagination, but I see now with all of this technology, when tech start working together, I think they can create new products and new users for people. But I don't, I don't think it's going to be that fashionable like the smart watches or any of that, especially not in this market.
Interestingly,
Yeah, go ahead.
so yeah, you're probably definitely correct about not in that market yet, but I am aware of. I have an old friend that works in a like the Pradas, which he works in with those types of companies, not those two specifically, but I am aware that they're trying to develop digital outerwear. So essentially, clothes that when you see them with AR glasses, it will display a certain effect, or will give you like wings, or like have some sort of extra element to the style of the clothes that you can only see once you see the with the appropriate glasses. So products are being developed for the since we're talking about the fashion side of uh, the industry. But unfortunately, as you mentioned, I don't think the eyewear is at that point yet. The Apple Vision is probably the latest and best one on the market so far, and it is still quite lacking. Yeah.
So
Yes, and
adding to Hamid and Haytham,
Mhm.
yeah, sorry, adding what you mentioned, Hamid
go
and
ahead,
Haytham,
Mahmoud.
I believe, yeah, I believe for now the biggest target and the biggest customer for having this VR, AR, and XR are big enterprises. So
Mhm.
even for now, I don't think uh, we can have this fashionable, as you mentioned, to have this VR for each people to build their, I don't know, houses or anything else, because each house, each place is really customized and it will take time. But for big players, for example, BMW now, they have their whole production in one of the countries in Europe based on NVIDIA Omniverse and bring this metaverse for themselves. So it's not only as an end user, I would say. So it's completely B2B for now. Even oil
Mhm.
and gas inside the oil and gas or smart city. All these things are higher level than the customer electronics or
Yeah.
this kind of things. So I see there is big hype and there is a big need and request for having this digital twin for the big players. But for the
Mhm.
end users, I think it's too soon because the equipments are expensive. Even the big enterprises, they don't want to target these big glasses. So even I had one meeting with one of them. They mentioned we want to have a very simple AR as using it in the tablet, not even using this, I don't know, different AR
Yeah. Yeah.
glasses that you have. So I see there's a lot of kind of need from the big enterprises for the digital twin. As you might say, so Hamid inside the Neom, they are really, really big in creating this digital twin and 3D model of what they are building. So I think this is the need is there.
Well, uh, I did I did ask around about the latest about Neom and the line. I'm not gonna go into that because I did not hear the same information from two sources even. So everybody's
Mhm.
saying different things. Some say it's on hold. Some say it's going on. Some say it's 300 billion have been spent so far. And I'm talking about people from here, Saudis. I'm not talking about
Mhm.
people foreigners. So I don't know, but I think I mean it is a platform that can really help new technology to advance and become mainstream in a sense within the construction, within the industrial side of things, and that would help the economy here or anywhere else to move in leaps rather than incrementally, simply because of the um, cost side of such technology that they can afford to really pay the bill for here versus other economies and other countries. So this is what makes this place very, very, very special in the sense that yes, there could be a very new sort of technology that would still require a lot of spending in order to generate um, the results that are needed. I think we lost Haytham. He will join again, but uh, but uh, but other countries, other governments, other economies might not be able to bring those now. They will still have to wait until it's really commercialized. And I think this is what they're trying to do here, is trying to benefit from that edge, trying to because they have the spending power that others don't. Now, what's also important is that they have the local resources, right? So they're relying on their local resources to develop or further develop that technology. And if you look around within the GCC, they have a unique advantage, which is the majority of the population are Saudis rather than expats, and they're playing it right. So that's gonna play to their advantage for sure. Uh, I mean, for example, I met this guy just we were chatting. The guy was in food tech. He's a Saudi. Uh, he was in food tech, and then he uh, with his mates, they developed a game, and a strategy game. Um, and within 6 months, they were valued at $1 million. And then PIF jumped on the opportunity to provide them with further funding and all of that. But the whole setup and the whole technology and the framework is designed and created and by Saudi caliber and Saudi talents. You will see a lot of these stories everywhere you go in this event, in every corner, and that's what is special. And that is, I have to say that for this part of the Middle East, this is not very common to see that products as sophisticated and as high in tech are locally made and sourced. So yeah, you see that and you feel that everywhere you go, and there's a lot of support, and yeah, I mean, good for them. And really, we need others to follow suit, and hopefully they will, because technology now sits at the heart of everything, and is everywhere. So yeah, as I said, good for them, and it's. I think every year we're gonna see leaps happening. I mean, not leap the event I'm in, but leaps in terms of development and in terms of growth within that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that
Yeah.
was a very nice overview of the Leap event. I think, and I want to thank also Mahmoud for coming and introducing himself. Hopefully, we'll be seeing a lot more of him on these recordings. Thank you very much, guys. I think we've covered everything, and hopefully next week we'll kind of see what more what you've seen at the event, I mean, and we can discuss that further.